Alright, so looks like medieval era was 46 minutes. Now, this is, honestly, I might do a combined Renaissance Industrial era. So, what I'll do is I'll call this the mid-game. I'll just do a combined, simply because, again, unless you're doing, like, seafaring stuff, compass into astronomy and navigation and beyond, it's not something you necessarily have to do. I wouldn't worry about it as a intermediate player. Unless, like, let's say you're doing seafaring stuff, which we only have one coastal city which hasn't even expanded towards its luxury yet. So, really, again, for us, our main focus in Renaissance and Industrial is push to factories, push to public schools as well as hydro plants, and maybe even all the way to radio if we can Oxford it. If you can Oxford it, it's not too bad of an idea, but other than that, not necessarily beyond electricity. Again, right? So, versus like all these architects which are kind of necessary, and basically the big thing is once you push to factories plus public schools and hydro plants, then that's when you need to make decisions regarding, alright, do we push for plastics? Do we, let's say, go dynamite and maybe do some sort of attack? Or just, like, let's say your civ is really struggling with production and food. Chemistry and fertilizer are out of the way, but are really good for production and food tiles. Maybe you go up the top of the tree to biology and potentially refrigeration. Again, but basically all this would come after you make the decision for industrialization, scientific theory, or electricity. So, again, for this part, I'm going to do a combined Renaissance Industrial to get to this point. So, and again, in the last part, again, we made our decision to go for Notre Dame because, again, if the AI get it, so be it. We're not putting a massive investment into it. It's just, if we do get it, that would be great. So, Kamehameha. Again, and you're wondering why I'm trading away, what would you call it, my last cocoa? It is because, also this, but it's because whenever we get this last cocoa online, you know, it's something to where we will get, and what we can do now is actually this, so... yeah, this actually works out perfectly. So, and yeah, we're maxing out. Also, windmills are also good. So, are all of our cities on flatland? All of our cities are. Windmills are also good. Building to hit before factories. So, we should plan on basically getting windmills in 6 turns. So, we don't really have the... honestly, I'd rather get a temple in this city than a bank. Other city, temple, this city... alright, this city has a lot of shit queued up. So this city is kind of behind. But, so yeah, this city can't even get a bank. But, again, you know, yeah, so we can get this stuff. What we can do is if we want to... I guess we are on science focus, so we're not really working food, but chances are this will go down in terms of just the amount of time, Jesus Christ, the amount it takes anyway. So also, we have another trade route. What we can do is just queue that up in the, maybe the cap, who knows. If we want, we can hold off. Again, and this is why tradition's powerful, because... all of our other cities are good. They're, like, in line with where they need to be, but our cap is a beast city. And that is kind of how we set it up as a tall tradition. And again, Gandhi's converting our cities, and also, so we have Notre Dame. That's perfect. Look at our happiness. As well as, so Gandhi's converting our cities. However, the nice thing is we got all our pagodas and mosques up. So what we're going to do now also, again, still holding off on building this guild. However, in 4 turns we can get the windmill, so what we can do is get a bank and then a caravan before that. So, also the big thing is now that we're in the Renaissance era, we can start to put points into rationalism, which is really good for science, which again, you know, is good for everything else. So really, commerce is just kind of a policy that we put points into in between our opener, as well as just rationalism and then eventually ideology. So yeah, that is honestly really cool that we got that. But again, that was a very strategic build. Other than that, don't bother with like wonder spam. So again, as an intermediate player, right? As that is again still who this is. So we honestly, like, look at our happiness. We probably don't need to worry. Like, I can just take these Colosseums out of the queues because they just do nothing. So also, honestly, what I might do is get the caravan in this city. So simply because, again, Colosseum, worthless. Again, the problem is this Aegis has nothing really to get. So it's like, again, you know, I don't know. Maybe I put like, I wouldn't want to say build a worker. Honestly, maybe building a walls or something wouldn't be too terrible of an idea. 4 turns. Honestly, yeah, just go for the caravan in this city. Even if it's like slightly behind these two, I guess. What I can do is I can build like, I don't want to say build units, but again, these cities just have nothing to like build. So what I'll probably do is build just some cheap unit like a swordsman. Again, only 3 turns. So honestly, in this one, I can build a trireme. So I can build a trireme to go out and explore. I'm surprised I haven't built one yet. Again, just also, this is growing here, so hopefully it grows to that crab. But again, what we can do is just build the trireme out of this, a cheap unit out of here, and caravan out of here. And then when all those cities are done, they will get the windmill. And then this city, honestly, we've been putting it off long enough. We can get the bank into the Writers Guild into actually building this windmill. So again, right? Also, great scientist. Now, this is where stuff... So with great scientists, you can either bulb them for text, which is good later on, or if it's early on, you can plant them as a tile, right? For the science. Now, what you don't know is scientists are good to plant on, like, resource tiles. Not luxury resources, because this unimproves it, but, like, strategic resources and then just bonus resources, it's good because those are tiles you work anyway, right? So, like, honestly, usually what I do first is put it on horses. So, or, like, iron. Yeah, let's do iron, because we'll just lock this tile to ensure that the city is working it. And again, so we finished these buildings, and then what's going to happen is I'm just going to queue up the windmills once we actually research economics, right? Wu Zetian has declared war on Gandhi. Interesting. Now this is where we would be more potentially, because she's 100% attacking into Mumbai and then Delhi, this is where we would be more worried about having like military and stuff on our border. So, which we have decent military, it's just, again, our goal is kind of what's been crippling us. And again, what we can do now, add windmill. It's a painful 12-turn build, but it is pretty important. So yeah, right? So yeah, we finished, and again, it's working the Writers Guild slots, which for our cap, and then we can also, and then again, so we can, so do this, right? And then lock this. And since this is a tile we're working anyway, it ends up working out. So, and again, that you can see how that benefits our science, right? So, unfortunately, nothing really to build after windmills, but, or I guess East India Company, because that massively improves gold from our cap. So that's actually really clutch. Now that we have our markets up, we'll probably get windmill into factories. And let's hope we have coal. So, Angkor Wat. Also, I should have 100% checked to make sure that this is actually picking up my voice, but I guess we'll see. Yeah. That'd be hilarious if it didn't, but I'd also low-key be pissed. So, and again, you can see we're starting to get that, right? So, machinery stolen, that's fine. We know the AI is stealing from us. However, if this were a multiplayer game, chances are you're probably not that far ahead, so it's still better to steal off our people. Now, our capital is working. We can send this as more food to our cap, which isn't the worst. Also, 40 gold for that. Yeah, let's just send this as more food to our cap. Because, again, you can see the cap stopped working its workshop because it doesn't have enough food. But what we can do, again, right? So, again, and this is why 4 cities, like 4-city tradition, again, if you are on the coast, you could do 3 cities coastal, but you need kind of 4 cities inland for tradition. For kind of to make all this stuff work out. And again, as you can see, we have all our windmills queued up. Even though it cuts into, you know, did we get a free sword? Oh, we built this. I forgot. Yeah, what we can do is just send this swordsman up there and then keep this comp bow, which is a more viable unit for combat, closer to our own territory. I can honestly bring this, honestly, if I want to, I could probably delete, these catapults are pretty useless. So what I could do is, honestly, probably delete both of these. I'll bring the crossbow down to this city, and then the comp bow down to Beshbalik. So, and again, I was going to say, even though these windmills cut into factory timing, we'll probably need to get our coal online before we build factories. Also, in 9 turns... So, unfortunately, we had a great profit spawn. Reason being, we were, however, close to, in 3 turns, we can start to get great... also, I've been waiting to do this all game. Basically, we were however many turns away from actually getting... from just spawn... Also, yeah... China took one by. However, since we do have one, we might as well just reconvert our cities back to our own religion. So, yeah. There we go. And I'm just going to bring this one down to Beshbalik. So, yeah, crossbowmen can stay in Turfan. So this caravan... This one was gold. However, we really don't need to do that anymore. And now we're at a point to where, and especially since we are going to get East India Company after this windmill, if we wanted to, we could do a 3rd food trade route to the cap. Which, honestly, isn't a horrible idea. I'd say a more advanced, what would you call it? Play would be to send trade routes to your other cities. But I'd say just focus on food to your cap. You know, as, what would you call it? Just focus on, as an intermediate player, what's most important is food to the cap. So, this can be... Oh, I forgot HCL already has one. It's Turfan that doesn't. So... Oh, freaking Chinese prophets trolling. Also, so... Again, we already have East India Company queued up, so... City converted, so... Hold on, I'm curious as to... Oh, it is... Alright. So, honestly, and again, there's just... Yeah, move this back to and reconvert. And again, just what I'm going to do is as soon as I get this, I'm going to set it to purchase great engineers, as that is more useful than anything else. So this is going to be food to the cap. Again, honestly, yeah, most important. And again, that way you can ensure the capital works all of its... Honestly, because these other cities are just going to kind of work what they have. At the very least, you want to set them to science so they work science, but the cap is really where you're going to make your money. So... Again, right? Also, Han, did... A lot happened. Great writer, again, used to create a great work. Also, so we have 3 sources of coal, actually 4. So that is very lucky. 5 if this city grows down here, specifically because we almost, like, honestly, there are some times you just don't get coal, and it's a problem. However, we got extremely lucky. So, I could use this for gold. However, we are getting East India in 2 turns with a golden age. So, I'm going to switch this last trade route to food internally. We're already sending 3 to the cap. However, Hsia, as our last city, is kind of behind Turfan as well as Beshbalik. So, I'm going to send this as food to the cap to Hsia. So again, right? Again, even though we're -7, East India as well as Golden Age. So we're officially at the point to where we can use our we can just completely convert to internal trade routes. Again, China is trolling with this. Also, how did, I guess, their religion... Also, another thing I forgot to do is switch to Great Engineer. Because even if China completely converts our cities, again, the Great Engineer that we can potentially gain is more important. Also, what is nice is these windmills should roughly be in line with... They should be in line with whenever we get our coal online for factories. So, as well as in 4 turns, we can vote on the World's Fair. So... Now, honestly, since we've seen people stealing from us, let's put this in our cap. We're still #1 in literacy, as well as most of the other things, besides soldiers. So, East India Company, again, there's not much we really have that we can build after. So, honestly, yeah, there's actually, unironically, really not that much. Like, our cap... Is anyone going for Globe Theater? Honestly, now might not. 7 turns is a pretty big commitment. But we're also going to get a Golden Age. So, honestly, this is in our situation to where, since we have everything we need, Globe Theater, I would go for Big Ben, but we're not doing gold. Again, the culture would do us more use than the gold, as well as, again, this is a more advanced thing. Since none of the AI almost... Okay, I guess Williams Commerce. I was going to say most of the AI don't go commerce, but again, 10 turns is a bit much. Versus this, which will probably go down to 5 or 6. So... And again, so Korea has the most wonders. Yeah, so it's a 5-turn build, which is low-key. Like, honestly, not too bad. So, 5-turn build. I'm willing to commit 5 turns to try to see if we can get this. And we should hopefully have our coal up. Also, so World's Fair is coming up, which will be a good time to kind of go over stuff for that. We might need to delay our factories to put production into the World's Fair. Also, so India's out of the game. Or no, they're not. They still have one more city somewhere. Which we can actually figure out where by doing an embassy deal. Oh, alright, never mind. So, it must be like, I have no idea where India's last... I'm actually so confused. Okay, they don't have any tradable, so they just have one city left, but I have no idea where it could possibly be. Also, looks like we're not going to get our coal in time. So, we can get other stuff before, but also because we're getting the World's Fair, we're probably going to hold off on factories until after anyway. So, this city, Colosseum, Amphitheater, Temple Colosseum. Colosseums are just useless. Honestly, putting production into, like... Well, I guess to be fair, this city needs 5 turns. But, like, for these 2 cities specifically, I guess we'll see, kind of... But, like, we'll see. I feel bad for... But if it ends up working out in terms of, like... Also, yeah, we can see we're at 20 gold now, so... So, 1 turn till the vote. So, 3 turns for an amphitheater, 3 turns for Coliseum, 3 turns for the Globe Theater. And again, I'll go over the World's Fair when it comes up. So, because chances are we're going to need to delay our factories until after the World's Fair is over. Which I'll go in depth whenever the World's Fair comes up. Alright, policy. We can go for secularism. Bam. Look at our science delegates. Ban luxury cotton. If this was an actual multiplayer game, this would not be on here, but the AI love to ban luxuries. However, for us, we're just going to put points into World's Fair simply because, again, I don't want... I guess it doesn't matter. Do we have... Let's vote against Gandhi because they're going to get knocked out of the game anyway, so it doesn't matter whether we piss them off. We don't know where their last city is, but we do know that... Yeah, where... Gandhi does have another city. It must be, like... down here or something. Whenever our embassy deal runs out, we'll see. But again, so yeah, right? But we'll see whenever the if World's Fair passes. All right, it does, and ban luxury filled. Funny enough, ours actually made the difference. So World's Fair. And the reason why it's important, and again, looks like we're going to get this Globe Theater, right? So the reason why, and honestly, I'd rather do this for a turn just so we can get it. Unfortunately, I need to do that for the World's Fair. However, here's the thing, right? The reason why the World's Fair is important, and I'll show it next turn when it actually comes up after the stuff we're building currently. Make a proposal. So World's Fair is currently up. We don't really... Again, let's put it this way. If this were multiplayer, I'd say if you have... Granted, now we no longer have our own religion in our lands. It's all China's, but we were able to get all our buildings, which is what mattered more, right? Which is why, again, you know, we went that as opposed to anything else. Because that is all hinging on our cities having our religion, which they don't. But, again, you know, what I'd say is, you know, if you're behind, scholars and residents is good. Again, or if, like, again, if you don't have your own religion definitively in your lands, like, so world's religion would be relevant. Science is fun. I mean... The AI hate it, but I'd say, like, scholars and residents if you're behind, science is funding if you're ahead. And if you don't have your own religion in your land, which you'd pick world religion. Honestly, what I'm going to do, just to not piss off the AI, is natural heritage sites, since we have a natural wonder, and that can give us +5. And I'll explain the World's Fair this next turn. Also, again, we have our we have our coal online, which is nice. So World's Fair and why it's important. Also, now we can switch back to science. So World's Fair, right? Alright. Bronze, 50 points, 500 points for Golden Age. Silver, free social policy. Gold, double culture for 20 turns. Even if you can't get gold, silver is worth the production you're putting into it. Granted, we are technically a turn behind, but I was willing to forego that, given, again, you know, that was only one turn, and we had everything line up with that. For more advanced players, you're going to want to just time it to where it goes exactly, but the big thing, if for intermediate, at least get gold. Funny enough, I don't believe any of the RAI have put production into it, so we might actually win this thing, but we'll see. And again, it seems like we could be putting stuff in production to our stuff at this point in time, but trust me, like, you're going to want to, like, it's so helpful. Even if you don't get gold, silver is just so nice. Also, we have our second scientist, so we'll put this on our coal here. Or actually, I'll just put it on the horses. But again, you know, the world's, like, International Games, which is the next version, is honestly more geared towards, what would you call it? It's more geared towards tourism, but World's Fair, just in general, is so good. I don't know if any of the other AI are putting production into this. But the big thing is basically, as soon as we come out of it, we're going to build, again, what would you call it? We're going to build factories into public schools, since we have all our windmills up. World's Fair update. Yeah, we're the only, like, Civ, which, again, normally, did our scout die? Oh, I guess it's still exploring whatever. But the thing with that, right, is, again, you know, yeah, if this were multiplayer, there'd be more civs putting production into it. But it just so happens, no, we're not going to make friends with Gandhi because they're going to get knocked out of the game. We also voted against their policy specifically for that, and it made the difference. So, again, so gems for spices. Just do cocoa, because eventually we will get this other cocoa online. So, also, funny enough, oh shoot, I should have just, alright, I should have just waited. I'm an idiot. So, also, we're reaching the point to where we could potentially engineer or Oxford radio. However, obviously, we still have the World's Fair. So, honestly, there's no, and also great engineer. So, and the reason why this works out is we can engineer the porcelain tower for the great scientists, as well as scientist points and research generation. So that's what we're going to do with that. But what we're going to do is we don't really gain anything out of Oxfording radio because we're not going to get either of the radio wonders. However, because we need to catch up on buildings anyway, we may as well research it because none of the other civilizations are putting production into this World's Fair. So, again, what I will say is chances are we can steal compass. That's fine. Whenever we do actually finish radio, I'm probably going to end this because there are a slew of decisions you need to make. 76. Honestly, because here's the thing. We're going to get... Okay, he's finally putting stuff in it. What we can do is Oxford porcelain, or engineer into finishing the World's Fair. We have more than enough to know we win it. And then again, so chances are our players aren't going to care if you steal from them. But honestly, we're so far ahead at this point that I might as well just put it in. Honestly, I don't know if I want to put it in one of my cities, but what you can do is you can put it in like city-states. So like, for example, if we want to be allied with, we're kind of neutral with most of them, but if we want to get allied with, so Panama City is a maritime city-state. So it gives us food. Malacca is mercantile, which is happiness. You can tell by the symbols that's a bit more advanced, but for example, you know, Malacca kind of on our flank, it would be pretty, but so Panama City and Malacca are on our flank, so we probably want to put spies into them. So honestly, I can put, so where's Malacca, right? And so yeah, or put the higher level one in Panama City, and then, or honestly, no, put the higher level one in Malacca and the lower level one Panama City. And then they'll rig elections and give us passive influence. Also, we got a great engineer from that. That'll go onto that coal tile. And we will also lock it. So, and again, like, normally it wouldn't be this long simply because other civilizations will put work into it. But just, I guess, due to the nature of single player, other civilizations haven't. So, again, just do that, right? In 95. Honestly, we're at a point to where we can unqueue World's Fair. Like, 95, we're not going to get much more out of it. So I'm going to completely unqueue World's Fair and start to queue up the important, which, again, a bit painful build times, but also this city can actually get a low-key a 2-turn stoneworks honestly isn't too bad. And then this city, I guess if we want to, yeah, don't worry about it. Just for these other cities, I guess for this city, we can potentially get Musicians Guild, but there's just other stuff we need to build in the meantime. So it's like, but yeah, 2-turn stoneworks again. And normally, if you were in a good position to Oxford Radio and get the radio wonders, you could. However, the problem is we are not. So we're not going to. We're just going to hard build it or hard research. We'll save our Oxford for plastics or something later on. And again, this video, I'll end it when we research radio, because after radio is when you kind of need to make a decision. So Academy, lock the tile. And again, I have no doubt we're going to win this World's Fair, just based off of, yeah, I mean, it was a landslide. So literally none of the RAI. So free policy, we can go humanism into free thought. We also got another one because we just so happened to reach that. So maximizing our science. And then again, we got that freaking right. So again, you know, these are kind of the, what's nice is hopefully, well, I guess I don't know if these cities will necessarily go down in production, but again, you know, just these are the two kind of important buildings of the Renaissance. And this is a, so because we are ahead of the AI research agreements, they're going to want more. If this were multiplayer, you would just do a normal like research agreement, but again, you know, also, so factories, right? So factories into public schools. Yeah, that looks right. No. And again, so yeah, the factory slots are being worked. So you can again kind of see like, so look at how few tiles or capitals actually working. It's mostly specialists. Which, again, this is why sending the food to the capital is so important. Statue of Zeus, good for China. Again, this is just going to be more food to the cap, so you can really kind of see how important those are, right? And then again, next turn we get radio. So, honestly, after this, what I'd say is probably Caravan, you know, into Stock Exchange. Yeah, Caravan into Stock Exchange. Into maybe a Wonder. Maybe Stock Exchange before the Caravan. Honestly, hit up the Caravan before the Stock Exchange. But we get radio. So now, with radio, and it's just convenient to push radio after, again, electricity. So you can just hit up the modern era. And this spy can honestly go to our cap. So yeah, and we have spies in Panama City and Malacca. Since we know we're ahead in tech, just going to rig them and make them our ally. So, also, India is still, whenever we can just redo embassy deal, you know, we can see where their last city is. I guarantee it's down here. Again, it's just somewhere. But, so, this is going to mark the end of this video. I guess here's my thing. Yeah, this is going to mark the end of the sort of, in at least, because I mean, we're still technically in these eras, Renaissance, Industrial. We just kind of made a beeline to modern with our tech tree. From here, you have multiple decisions you can make. One, you can just straight up beeline plastics. Now, we still have our Oxford. So this actually isn't that horrible of an idea. We can just research up to replaceable parts and then Oxford plastics. What you could do is, if you were, again, another thing you could do is push for dynamite if you plan on doing some sort of, or even potentially, like, you can push for dynamite to do to some cav RD timing on someone. Again, we're not worrying about attacks here because this is establishing a baseline. And I'm pretty sure I go over that in the game mechanics and fundamentals. We're just struggling with, like, which, again, if we're just struggling with our city's outputs, going chemistry and fertilizer isn't the worst. Chemistry massively boosts production, fertilizer massively boosts food. If we're seafaring, we can go up the top of the tree, potentially even to penicillin, but most likely to refrigeration. So whenever you get to the electricity, if not radio, at this point, this is when you kind of need to make a decision on what to do next. For the sake of this game, we are going to show, just since we still have our Oxford, and since we can still tech up to plastics, and again, you know, not really worried, we're going to show just, honestly, here's what I'm going to do this game. Because we are not, because let's put it this way, if we had been micromanaging our cities, food and like would not be a concern. These cities would be much larger. But since we have not been worried about that, let's tech to fertilizer. And then, funny enough, when I reach fertilizer, that'll be when I end this. Because you'll see how much that'll help our production, like our city's production, as well as just growth. So engineer, right? Also, we can go into ideology. Also, good thing I kept up that, because it's like, alright, so also we can use an engineer, so we can use it on like Sistine, Taj, Broadway, or Eiffel Tower. I mean, here's the thing, Eiffel Tower takes the longest, but there are actually better wonders we can get. So like, however, I guess how quickly are we? So none of our other cities are quickly to gain an engineer. However, we can get one for 1,000. So honestly, what I might do, engineer Eiffel Tower, and then try to hard build some of these shorter turn ones in the meantime, and then use our other engineer on Broadway. So, and again, what I might do is, it seems greedy, but rather than, let's say, Stock Exchange, we can Eiffel Tower into the Caravan, into, like, honestly, Sistine or even Taj. So it seems greedy, and then we save our last engineer for, Broadway. So it seems a bit greedy, but there's not a lot else we can get. So this is where, like, you need to think, is it worth to put the production towards Wonders? Again, and Big Ben is now 7, so even that. So I will still get the Caravan, but again, honestly, I might hold off on the Caravan for this city if I really do plan on it, and grab it in this city. So what we can do is we can Caravan before public school, and then we can also get Temple. We can start to fill these queues with stuff that might potentially be useful. So yeah, right? I honestly think Caravan in this city wouldn't be the worst. And then that way, we can now, since we know we're definitively in ahead, we're at a point to where you can potentially greed Wonders. So, like, Sistine would be next, and then Taj, and then Big Ben. So, in terms of, like, Wonders that could potentially be gone. Also, Ideology. If you are, again, very reductive, Freedom, Tall, and Specialists. Order, Wide, so just Freedom for Tall, Order for Wide, Autocracy for War. So if you go Tradition, chances are you're going to want to go Freedom. Liberty, chances are you're going to want to go Order. And, like, Honor or some crazy play Autocracy. But we're just going to go Freedom. And the reason why this is also so we can just vote for ourselves as the world leader. In multiplayer, that's what you're going to need to do anyway. In single player, you can kind of game it, and that's more advanced. But, we're not going to win anyway, so... And the reason why Freedom is good, and why I mentioned Specialists, you can make it so your Specialists consume half food. So, basically, you get food by working Specialist slots. And then, since we don't need to worry about happiness, we can also get increased Great People generation. So Freedom, almost always good for that reason. So, again, right? And yeah, I'll stop once we get to Fertilizer, because after that is when we'll make a decision on what to do, right? That makes sense to me. Eiffel Tower. So, adopt policy. And also in here, what's nice is you can get universal suffrage for happiness, right? But honestly, what I might do is just push to finish rationalism, since we don't really need that just yet. So we can get gold from science, and then we can get this, as well as just, again, all of the rationalism policies. So, again, I guess the workers have nothing to build. They've maximally built all their stuff. Yeah, more food to the cap. Also, we can just... I haven't forgotten, now that we have decent flow, we can, like, upgrade at least these to crossbows. The upgrade to Gatling guns isn't as good because it reduces the range, but at the very least, these two guys, right? And again, so just because we don't have a lot to build, like Himeji, we don't... Again, we can kind of go down the list for Wonders. And again, normally, like, if you were micromanaging, which is more of an advanced level... Chemistry and fertilizer wouldn't make as much of a difference because you would be getting enough production and food. But if you're, again, intermediate, right? It's probably a good idea. Similarly, and for the whole reason we have not been just, again, doing that, like, it's a good way to bolster it. So, and we can see the, that's kind of funny. So... Looks like there's a... Also, I really do want to see his last city. I have no idea where it is. So... So I guess, funny enough, some of these workers are, like, finishing, audit, like... So, and then this was still food to HCL, which is still kind of needed, as we can see. So, again, internal trade routes... Again, so chemistry, right? So assigned delegates, natural heritage sites, or embargo city states. I'm not saying trade rush to city states. I'm using them all internally. And then for this just gives us 5 culture. So Let's just vote that again. 5 culture from Uluru. So, and then just keep these workers. Now, again, because the workers, and this is why you can't, like, this is why it's so important to actually build workers, is because we're working, like, all improved tiles, right? So, also, now that we have our aluminum online, we can get hydro plants. So, I greeted Sistine Chapel. However, afterwards, I'm probably going to just get hydro plants, because Sistine Chapel was the, I guess, only funny enough, we can only really get in our cap. And this city did actually finish its, Harbor does nothing for this city. This city did finish its factory, and it's working its factory tiles. So, which is nice. And again, fertilizer will massively boost our food. So, this caravan, again, is just food to the cap. And then this one will be food to either Turfan or Beshbalik. Probably Beshbalik. I'll end up sending probably one food trader out to... What I might do is... I guess we got Compass for free, which is another trade route. So we're not going to get another one for some time, but I'll end up maybe sending one of the capital's food ones to... shit, I should have done it with that one. Oh well. And then this can go on this coal. Yeah, what I should have done is... So this can be from the cap to Beshbalik. I should have just... When does my... Shoot. Yeah, I should have thought about it. When does my next trade route end? Alright, fuck. Not for some time. That one should have been... rather than another food to the cap, I could have just done a food trade out to each of my expands. And again, you know, so this city, right? Yeah, I mean... Again, I could have gone for some of these other ones, but it was more time. So I just really didn't... I'm already greeting Sistine, but yeah, then it's time for like hydro plant, you know, like some of these are stuff like probably stock exchange, you know. Again, right? So, alright, and I didn't even get the Sistine, so good to, again, so we lost however many turns on it. To be fair, we got gold out of it, but it is like, yeah, we didn't get it. To be fair, we just kind of had nothing to build, so that was when it was, like, acceptable. So this is what? This will be food to Beshbalik. Again, I should have... Damn it, I wish I'd... Because what I wish I had sent that one, the one from Turf. I wish I had just sent that as food to, that. So that way I'm getting 2 to my cap and then 1 to every, like, other city. But again, you'll see how much fertilizer will benefit, like, our food. So, steel stolen, that's fine. So again, right? Now we should have no issues growing. Again, I will say though, I really just should have, but oh well, you know, it is what it is. And again, this city is getting its factory, so again, right, this is what we're looking at. And again, whenever we get that engineer, I'm gonna engineer the other Radio Wonder. Normally, like, advanced level, you would kind of set up, but alright, now we've gone fertilizer. I'm going to end it here for Renaissance and Industrial, because the big thing in what we can do next is push for plastics, which we can Oxford. Again, you know, if in an advanced play, I'd go straight there, but if you're intermediate and you're not micromanaging your cities, really, current chemistry fertilizer is a pretty good bet to get your cities, again, you know, along with using internal trade routes is a pretty good bet to get your cities in line. So, again, we made a detour for those, for 2 techs, but, you know, I think it was worth it, because now we can just push for plastics. And, again, you know, let me queue up. Again, what we can do is start to look into gain Musicians Guild and then opera houses in my other cities. But, again, you know, that's something to where it's like, again, you know, just what it kind of comes down to there is... Yeah, you know, we'll see if our other cities are ready for that. But again, right. Also, so, I meant to, because I really am curious. Can I, like, so here's the thing. This is our current state in the game. We finished factories in our cities to include public school in the cap. We are wrapping up our factories and public schools in our external cities. We're getting a hydro plant in the cities we can. Again, we're sitting pretty, and really at this point, and this is where you want to get in a position where you can kind of snowball and just, if you're in the lead, just Sim City, right? So you can just Sim City. You don't want to have to at this, like, if you're ahead, you don't want to have to worry about war and about other nonsense, right? You know, when you reach this point of, like, Sim City, you just want to be able to sit and then just basically, you want to reach a point to where if you were to keep playing, you would just win the game. Again, funny enough, I played for a total of 3 hours and 30 minutes. Ancient Era was the longest at 1 hour 13. Classical was the shortest at 40. Medieval was 46. And this sort of in Renaissance, Industrial into Modern is a total of 50, right? Obviously, again, this is for a very baseline level. Like, if different stuff were to happen, like, let's say, again, a big thing would be if we were doing more sea and naval stuff, we would have gone up the top of the tree, right? If we had gotten warred at some point, our production path would change. If we plan on attacking someone, it would change, right? But again, what I'm showing now is kind of a base, and any, like, changes or stuff is going to be going is going to be from and off of this base, right? Which is why I'm advertising or marketing this as, like, an intermediate's guide. But again, you know, yeah, it's about time for me to wrap up Civ for the night. Again, you know, the big thing there is I'll probably try to continue, if not finish this tomorrow. But again, just wanted to make this series right. Again, I will continue and carry it on. And yeah, you know, again, just create a base so that any deviations from this are made with this in mind, you know, and are more situational. And then that is what leads to kind of a more advanced level, you know, play. Again, this is, I'd say, very much intermediate guide. Again, Ancient Era, definitely kind of the biggest. But basically, with what you do, you set yourself up to where you can just kind of snowball, you know. So, again, that's what we're seeing here right now. But with that, I'm going to save and then end it here. So, yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.